Hi everyone, I'm Humbly Anna Anders here on the YouTube channel. Today is Monday, July 29th, I believe, 2016. But anyways, the date's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, but what's more relevant is this story. And I'm sitting here. Well, first of all, I want to say that my creator, my sacred creator, gave me a very powerful spiritual dream last night. And it was so powerful that I had to get up and reflect upon it and meditate upon it and stuff. And it was about my other half, you know. And anyways, I'll talk about the dream to you face to face on camera a little later. But what's come to fruition, if you will, is this. You know, my creator, my God has given me very powerful spiritual dreams in the past. And sometimes, I mean, once upon a time when I was doing my activist work in corrupt Cleveland looking for Gina, I was getting very powerful dreams back then. They were so powerful that it kept me up, most of the dreams kept me up all night and stuff. And I mean, it was like I had to work as a caregiver. And then I had to go out to the corrupt streets of Cleveland to look for Gina the way I was doing that. And I got to tell you, it was some days, some weeks, it felt like I wasn't getting no rest. And this dream that I got last night was so powerful again. It was kind of like reminded me of that time period in life, if you will. But anyways, I'm sitting here humbly at home and finishing up some breakfast with Rosanna and I. See, Rosanna and I'm already done eating, but sitting here and we're chit-chatting, and I told Rosanna that I had a very powerful dream about her daughter last night, this morning, early in the wee hours of the morning, and it was amazing, incredible dream that I witnessed. But what I want to say is this. The power of spirituality is very powerful, people, and it's to be respected, okay? Not disrespected. You agree, Rosanna?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Because you said naturally. So sometimes we answer questions before we even can consciously know that we do. And she nodded her head. So that was really cool just now. But what I want to say is the reason I wanted to do this shout out is is because we were talking before I turned on the video, Rosanna and I. And what we were talking about is how I have a resentment. You know, I'm talking about the Federal Reserve Bank, you guys, on my social media today, and the formation of the Federal Reserve Bank. And people, it's not a federal institution, by the way. It's a private institution, and the banksters, okay, the warmongering banksters got together on Jekyll Island and started the formation of the Federal Reserve Banking Institution. So that's what happened. And Abraham Lincoln wanted to abolish the Federal Banking Institution, Federal Reserve Bank, and you see what happened to him. He got assassinated. JFK Jr. was going to do the same thing. He even gave a speech about the hazards of secret government. Okay, and so you see what happened to JFK. He got assassinated in Texas, of all places. And right during that time period of JFK's assassination, the CIA was being formed, okay? You can call it Central Intelligence Agency, or you can call it the Cocaine Importing Agency, because that's what they do, really and truly. You're not going to convince me that people on the street, especially the poor people, are dragging the drugs into this country. That gig is up, okay? You should watch the Clinton Chronicles, the Clinton Chronicles, the full documentary, and you'll get a part of the story from the Clintons' perspective and their contribution that they made so corruptly to this country, as the crack cocaine industry started. But hold on a second, Rosanna. I want to get to a point, and my point is this. So JFK wanted to stop the Federal Reserve Bank. And I'm talking with Rosanna right now, Rosanna Preston, Rosanna Dene, and she has a sister named Pat, who's passed on. She's on her sacred journey. She's on her sacred journey, aho esquale kunaa. But Pat was married to a man by the name of Chuck Ross. Chuck Ross, you can YouTube him, Chuck Ross. He's up in the Dakotas. And he was, Chuck Ross, what nationality was Chuck, Rosanna? Do you remember?
He was,
Lakota Sioux?
Yeah.
He was Lakota Sioux. So anyhow, but Chuck Ross wrote a book, and his book was about Crazy Horse. And I'm going to tell you something. Or excuse me, it might have been, I apologize, I'm not sure if it was Crazy Horse or Geronimo. Either way, he wrote the book, and in the end of the book, was it Crazy Horse, Rosanna?
Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse. Okay, so she said it was Crazy Horse. And at the end of the book, what I want to tell you is he started to write about how Crazy Horse knew that the Federal Reserve Bank was bad business and that the Zionist Jewish men were doing it. And what happened was, this literally happened to Rosanna's family member, Chuck Ross, which happened to be Rosanna's sister's husband. There was a knock at their front door, you know. And it was the Zionist Jew boys telling him he couldn't write that book. See, they made him take it out of the book, I think. So, but, you know, the gig is up, people. We need to stop lying to each other. And what got our conversation started here, Rosanna and I, this morning, was because I was talking to her about how I resent a part of history, which is the boarding schools, and how this corrupt government infiltrated and migrated onto the reservations to put boarding schools for the indigenous people. And I know that it was a part of their dividing and conquering plans, and also to sabotage their cultures individually. And yes, I'm talking about Hopi and Navajo. I got proof of this crap. But, you know, it's like they infiltrated they've set up these boarding schools to, cut their hair, put them in different clothing, and then also, how do I say this, to indoctrinate them with corrupt history, see, his story, and then to also use it as a platform or a hidden agenda to recruit, militarily speaking, to these false flag wars. And so I resent the bleaching, and I'm using the word bleach, because when you spill bleach on color, it puts a white spot on it. So that's what I'm resenting. I'm resenting the cultural Zog-infested government that tried to bleach out the indigenous tribes across this nation, and they've done it. You can tell here with the Shawnee. I don't see any Shawnee walking around in Ohio. I do not see that. And so, you know, this has been going on for years and years, people, and it's a shame. It's a shame because we are all accountable and responsible for the kind of world we want to live in today. I don't want no more boarding schools for any indigenous people. Ever. If they come up with boarding schools, it better be their idea and not the white man's corrupt idea of showing up and saying, oh, I'm part of the Holocaust survival stuff and we want to help you. You know, recently Hopi had a scandal where artifacts were supposedly stolen, and of all places, France, where they've had these false flag events. Now, I'm not buying the horse crap that's showing up out there in Arizona, and it's a bunch of Holocaust or hoax horse crap to try and infiltrate the indigenous even more. And yes, I'm talking specifically about Hopi because I know. I've seen it on social media. So if the Hopi fall for that crap some more, it's on them, I guess. But we should not be falling for no more tricks. Should we be falling for any tricks, Rosanna? Yes or no? No. Hopi should come up with the answers for Hopi, right? Hopi doesn't need any outside help. Hopi needs to help Hopi. And they better watch and stand guard against anything trying to infiltrate like a friend. And yes, I'm talking about Holocaust survivors all the way from Israel, corrupt Israel at that. I know what time it is in this nation. I'm humbly Anna Anders, and I refuse to be participant of the division and the dividing of sacred cultural rights anymore. You're already pissing on the mountain up there in Flagstaff, Arizona, and you should be ashamed of yourself for dragging the court case into California because you knew the indigenous people would not travel there. Humbly. Shame on the bankster thugs. Shame on the 9/11 thugs that want to say that Muslims did 9/11. They always got to find a boogeyman throughout history. People need to just shut them down all the way, and stop supporting corrupt Main Street media that wants to put out some political zogness. And yes, I'm talking about the RNC. It's all rigged. Rigged.
RNC.
The RNC. It's the Republican National Convention. I got to shut this down.